Ahmed Shihab-Eldin went to Flint, Michigan to see how the city is responding to its water crisis. This is his debrief.
Sadly, I don't think there's any consensus as to what the best way is in terms of moving forward and trying to fix the water system in Flint soon. Throughout the whole reporting process, the more you talk to residents, the more you realize that the confusion and the chaos and the lack of accountability and the fact that nobody who is in charge is willing to take responsibility neither for the problem and how they got to this point, nor necessarily for the solution. So there seems to be a vacuum of knowledge, and that's causing, I think, a lot more chaos and a lot more anxiety. So even if the water system was to heal itself soon, it's extremely unlikely that anyone in Flint's going to be drinking that water without a filter, for example, because the trust between the residents and the government has been completely broken. It's impossible to go to Flint and leave after having met with residents and even after speaking to officials and not believe that this was an elaborate cover-up. One thing that really struck me being there is that the residents see this as part of a broader trend of being neglected, of being ignored, of being dismissed, and so little has happened even 2 years after the initial crisis began. It seems that a lot of the officials are not willing to take the responsibility that they need in order for the residents to feel as though justice has been served. There's something really surreal about reporting a story in America in 2016, an entire city of 100,000 people that were poisoned by their government. It's the kind of story that you would expect would spur an outrage across the country, right? This idea that saving money is more important than people's lives, or this idea that a basic human right wasn't being provided. It was staggering to see just how far we've come in this country, where it seems as though you don't matter unless you are in a position of relative power. To see the amount of neglect that's not only occurring in Flint, but across the country, because our infrastructure in general has been cut year after year. In the past 30 years, I think it's been cut 70%. It's been cut just 11% between 2016 and 2017 in terms of the amount of federal money that goes to our water infrastructure. And so what better metaphor than underneath it all, underneath the ground, there's a crumbling old infrastructure that is killing its citizens. And when this was brought to light, it was not taken very seriously. It was not prioritized. And even the federal government cut funding for water infrastructure after this huge public health crisis unfolded in Flint. So that makes you wonder, we are very reluctant to cut funding for military spending and other things, but when it comes to infrastructure and specifically water infrastructure, we are. And it just makes you wonder whether we're on the right track.